Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Thursday, January 23rd of 2025. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, it's one of the biggest things when you get ready to start a business or you're looking at buying somebody else's business is what problem does the business solve? What does the business solve for somebody else? So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back. If you didn't already know it, my name is Eric, and yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Thursday, January 23rd. Alright, so what am I getting at? I'm getting at in any business, you have to, your business has to solve a problem. And if you're in small engine repair, it's my weed eater won't run, or my lawnmower isn't running right, or you're solving a problem with that business. You are fixing other people's problems. And that's the biggest thing that you have to take into consideration when you're looking at starting a business or buying another business out to find out whether it's relevant or not anymore. It may have been making boatloads of money for the past 5 years, but now society has changed directions and it's going in a different one and they no longer want it. And I can give you an example. If you have a shop that does small engine teardowns, used to be we did one or two a week because it was feasible. The cost of the unit, the cost to replace that engine, it was cheaper to get a short block and then use the customer's other parts if we could. So if you had a business and that's what you were going to do, or you were buying somebody out that had that business, what problem is it solving? It's not really solving much of any problem because now the customer doesn't have that problem. And why do I say that? Well, it's because it's cheaper for the customer to go out and buy a brand new one, or they can run to Harbor Freight and buy a Predator and get a warranty on it and drop it in, which a lot of shops do. We do if the customer wants it. They're paying the bill. Yes, we'll pull the old one out, drop the Predator in, and hook up the Lovejoys and everything else. But the key is you have to solve problems. And the problem has to be big enough so that it keeps you busy 40 hours a week minimum, right? Because that's going to be your shop hours is, Monday through Friday or possibly Monday through Saturday. Maybe you need, 50 hours, 60 hours. But can the community support that business? And is there already somebody else doing it? If there's somebody else doing it in your community, now it's being split, right? But usually what I see when people are starting to get out of their business and they've got it up for sale is one of two things, okay? One is retirement. They're getting up in years. They want to kick back and enjoy. And a lot of times they're willing to hold a mortgage on it or do a loan type thing because they believe in the business and they believe in, they're taking a risk with you if you're buying it from them. And if you were buying from me, you'd have to have a pretty decent down payment to say you are committed to doing the best you could. But they know that the business is healthy. Okay? The other one is get out while the getting's good. Because they can see that it's reached its plateau And now it's starting to go the other way. So why get rid of it if it's a moneymaker, right? Just go do another one and keep that one going. It's not that hard of a deal. Because it's a moneymaker. You got cash funds coming in every day. So a successful business isn't going to come up for sale. Unless the owner has become so bored with it, I guess. There are exceptions to every rule. But for the most part, the owner sees the writing on the wall. It's going to start going the other direction, get out while the getting's good, and be able to show the last 5 years of profits. Yeah. And sell it to somebody else and then do another startup. Because some people are good at doing startups, but they can't stay committed long term. And that's used to be me. I could take a business from 0 to 100 and get it up and going so it's profitable. But the everyday mundane stuff would drag me down. It's like somebody else deal with this. And that's what I should have done with some of those businesses that I had, was hire somebody just to take it over and manage it. Because that's all I needed. It was a profitable business when I closed it. But it became bored. I became bored with it. And I know some of you guys are going to say, I understand. And the rest of you guys are going to be shaking your head like, I don't understand. It takes a certain type of person to be able to take a business from nothing and grow it into something. And that is 7 days a week, 16, 18-hour days, and not letting up on the throttle. And it's exhilarating when you're doing that. So when you finally get up to that certain point of where there's not much room for any more growth, you're like, now what? Now what do I do? Because you're used to working all those hours, right? But whatever business that you decide that you're going to start, you're going to buy out, you really have to get this in part of your preliminary thing, is what problem is it solving, and is the problem big enough to support you full time? And the answer may be yes. There are other things that may get you to deter from it, but this should be one of the very basics, first questions that you ask yourself to do the research on is there an actual problem there? Is the problem big enough that people are willing to pay someone else to take care of that problem? And that's how businesses are formed. You can do a startup of any business that you want as long as you see there's a need for it and you're solving somebody's problem. Dry cleaning. People have clothes that they want dry cleaned. So you have a dry cleaner that you can drop your stuff off with, and they will do it for you. They're solving a problem for the average person that needs dry cleaning done. Your house isn't big enough to have a washer and dryer. Laundromat. Laundromat owners are solving a problem. There's not enough room for a washer and dryer in my house. But are there enough households like that to support the laundromat? And the answer has to be yes. The nice thing about most laundromats are they're self-sufficient. They're coin operated. So they can be open 24/7. And somebody that wants to get their clothes washed at 1 o'clock in the morning when it's the least amount of people are there, they can do that. And I've seen people start businesses within businesses. And you're like, what do you mean by that? I mean, I've seen where somebody will start a little side hustle of doing your laundry for you in those laundromats. And when you come back, all your clothes are folded and back in the in the clothes basket. all ready to go home. That's entrepreneurship. That is seeing a need and filling the need. You may want to start a business in something that you enjoy, like maybe Pokemon cards. But you have to find a way to solve a problem with Pokemon cards. What is the problem that you're going to try to solve? Well, I'm going to have tournaments where they can come and, okay, but how is that a job? That's an event. That's not a job. See, there's certain things that being a job, are starting a card shop. But to do it in just Pokemon cards, unless the whole community has Pokemon cards, probably isn't going to get you enough business traffic through that door to support just you. So, well, I got to carry other cards in with my Pokemon. Okay, now you're expanding and you're looking at other problems of trying to get good cards or what have you. But when you're sitting there trying to come up with an idea for a business, at least me, that's what I do, is I look at what are problems in my community that are not being filled, that are not being solved. What are things that people hate to do but could be profitable? Whether it be a house cleaning service, doing laundry, watching child care. All of these are filling a need. You're solving a problem for somebody. But that somebody has to be enough somebodies to support you, whether you want it part-time or full-time. And you have to look at, honestly, you have to look at the other ones in the area that may already be doing it. And to add one more, going to oversaturate the area and all three of you are going to lose. See, I never started a business where there wasn't enough room for one more. There's no reason to take two other businesses down with you because of poor business planning. You can say, well, I'm better at business than they are, and I can offer better rates, and I can do this, and I can. That's fine if you're the one left standing. But most often the case is it gets split between the three of you, and it's not enough for the three of you, and all three of you go down. So the next thing in that thought process of what problem does it solve is, who is your target audience? Who are you going after? If you're doing daycare, you're going after parents that have kids, right, that aren't in school yet, that are little and toddlers, and where they both work, where they're not home and they need someone to watch the kids. That's your target audience. If it's lawn and garden, you're after the person that mows the yard, has a yard, has a big enough yard that they need to do, and they're doing their own. See, you could have 100 houses on the block, all right, and starting a business on the edge of the block for those 100 houses. But if 98 of them are being done by a lawn care service, it probably isn't going to pay to start a lawnmower repair business, because the only one you're left targeting is the one that is doing their own yard or the lawn care service. And a lot of your bigger lawn care services, I'll be honest with you, have their own shop and their own mechanic to keep everything running. And like I say, it all depends upon size. But even your smaller ones, they take care of their own. They do their own to save them money. So you have to identify who it is you're trying to get to buy your product or service. And until you can identify who it is, you don't want to go forward with it. You start with solving a problem. Who's your target audience? And then you keep going from there. You can use, you got Google where you can type in and find out a lot of answers just by asking those questions to Google in your area. Because Google is a data run business. They have acres and acres and acres of servers with just all data that they have been compiling for years. And they know within a 100-yard radius of your place of the average median income, where the jobs are, and if it will support a lawn care business or it will support a lawn repair business. And it will even tell you if there's competition if you ask it the right way. Well, I'm going to start wrapping this up, but I wanted to answer a couple questions, with the comments. And one of you is looking at buying out a engine repair business, and you have partners involved. And what I can tell you with partnerships are they usually don't do well unless it's clearly stated what each partner is required and is going to do. The tendency I see is you get partners together and one is doing the boatload of the work while the other one is reaping the benefits. Or they start arguing over how to take the next step. Or, there's so many things that are bad about a partnership, but there's a lot of good things. If you're entering you're trying to buy a person out and they have a partner, the first thing I would recommend that you do is sit down with that partner and talk with them and see what the expectations are. Because if you're left with one partner, you may have the partner that doesn't do any of the work, and the one that does the boatload is the one that's selling. You can get lucky, and the one that is doing the least amount of work is the one that wants to sell. And between you and the old partner may turn out to be a very good partnership. But the biggest thing with any partnership is the rules have got to be laid out. The expectations of each partner before you sign on the dotted line. What are each of their roles? Usually with partners, one is strong in something where the other one is strong in something else. Where they complement each other instead of I'm the same, right? The other thing about buying a business is you run the risk of, you say you're buying the business with the customers and the stuff that's in the building, but the building is being rent or leased every year. The other problem you run into is that with new ownership doesn't guarantee the amount of work over the last 5 years, because the two partners are the ones been bringing the work in, and when you buy them out, they're gone, and they've got years of experience, and they've got a reputation that they're known in the community that they do one heck of a job. And it's worth the money. See, now in our area, you wouldn't see that so much. We're in the rural area where if your car engine is bad, there's a salvage yard within 100 miles that takes out engines in late model vehicles that have been wrecked or what have you. And most mechanics up here just do an engine swap versus an engine rebuilt. And you'll get a short-term warranty with the engine, but those are things to consider before you sign on the dotted line. Is sit down with a partner and go over the expectations. But bringing it all together, if you're starting a business, you have to be solving a problem. And it's got to be a big enough problem that they're happy to have you do it and not them. Knowledge is power is worth money. The other thing is you need to identify who your target audience is. Right down to the who is that person. So you other guys chime in, put it in the comments, your thoughts, your ideas, and questions if any of you have any questions on the topic. There's plenty of us here that can answer it. On that note, you guys have a great Thursday, and today I start cardiac rehab, so this should be fun. Getting on a treadmill or an exercise bike. I haven't done that since my 20s. All right, guys, enjoy.